Rule 119, Section 8, Sanction. In any case in which private counsel for the accused, the public attorney, or the prosecutor. In this Section 8 requires the prosecution to disclose to the accused or his/her counsel all evidence in its position of control which tends to establish the guilt of the accused or which will negate the guilt of the accused. This includes evidence they may be favorable to the accused. Section 8A knowingly allows the case to be set for trial without disclosing that a necessary witness would be unavailable for trial. In this Section 8A requires the prosecution to disclose to the accused or his/her counsel the names and address the person who have personal knowledge of the facts materials to the case, whether or not they will be called as witnesses. This ensures that the defense has the opportunity to prepare for examination and to gather evidence to refute the testimony of these individuals. Section 8B files a motion solely for delay which he knows is totally frivolous and without merit. In this Section 8B mandates the prosecution to provide the statement of the accused, if any, taken in the accordance with the procedure provided in Section 12, Rule 116. This refers to any extrajudicial statement made by accused that are in the position of the prosecution. It ensures transparency and allows the defense to review and challenge a statement made by the accused. Section 8C makes a statement for the purpose of obtaining continuance which he knows to be false and which materials to the granting of continuance. In this Section 8C requires the prosecution to furnish the accused with the relevant portion of any written confession or admission of the accused that are in its position. This ensures that the defense is aware of any statement by the accused that may be used against them during trial. Section 8D willfully fails to proceed to trial without justification consistent with the provision hereof. The court may punish as counsel, attorney, or prosecution. In this Section 8D mandates the prosecution to provide the accused with the affidavit of its witness, as well as their sworn statement, if any given during the preliminary investigation or re-investigation of the case. This ensures that the defense has access to the statement of witnesses and can effectively prepare for trial. Section 9. Remedy where accused is not brought to trial within the time limit. If an accused is not brought to trial within the required time limit, the information may be dismissed on motion due to denial speedy trial rights. The accused must prove the motion, while the prosecution must provide evidence to establish the exclusion of time under Section 3. The dismissal is subject to double jeopardy rules. In this section, state that if the prosecution fails to comply with the duty to disclose evidence, the court may order it to do so, grant a continuance, or prohibit that the prosecution from introducing evidence not disclosed. In extreme cases, the court may dismiss the case or render judgment of acquittal. These rules aim to ensure fairness and due process in criminal proceedings by allowing the accused access to evidence that may affect the outcome of the case.
So, good day everyone. I am Maria Teresa De Jesus, and today we will discuss the uh, Section 8 and Section 9 of the Republic Act 119 under the trial. So, let us first discuss the Section 8, the under the sanctions. So, in any case in which private counsel for the accused, the public attorney, or the prosecutor, letter A, knowingly allows the case to be set for trial without disclosing that a necessary witness would be unavailable for trial. Letter B, files a motion solely for delay which he knows is totally frivolous and without merit. Letter C, makes a statement for the purpose of obtaining continuance which he knows to be false and which is material to the granting of a continuance, or Letter D. Willfully fails to proceed to trial without justification consistent with the provisions hereof, the court may punish such counsel, attorney or prosecutor as follows. Number 1, by imposing a counsel privately retained in connection with the defense of an accused a fine not exceeding 20,000 pesos. Number 2, by imposing on any appointed counsel, the officio, public attorney, or prosecutor a fine not exceeding 5,000 pesos, and by denying any defense counsel or prosecutor the right to practice before the court trying the case for a period not exceeding 30 days, the punishment provided for by this section shall be without prejudice to any appropriate criminal action or other sanction authorized under these rules. So, in this section, these sanctions aim to ensure fair and efficient judicial proceedings by holding counsels and prosecutors accountable for certain misconduct such as delaying service or uh, even dishonesty. So they provide a framework for penalties including fines and temporary suspension of a practice of rights for various infractions. So in these sanctions, uh, they keep the legal process honest and moving forward softly or smoothly by making sure that everyone gets a fair justice. So let's come now to Section 9. So in Section 9, remedy where accused is not brought to trial within the time limit. If the accused is not brought to trial within the time limit required by Section 1, Rule 116 and Section 1 as extended by Section 6 of this rule, the information may be dismissed on motion of the accused on the ground of denial of his right to speedy trial. The accused shall have the burden of proving the motion, by the prosecution shall have the burden of going forward with the evidence to establish the exclusion of time under Section 3 of this rule. The dismissal shall be subject to the rules of on double jeopardy. Failure of the accused to move for dismissal prior to trial shall constitute a waiver of the right to dismiss under this section. So in this section, it deals with what happens if a person accused of a crime isn't brought to the trial within a certain time frame. So how important the time limit for trial? When someone is accused of a crime, there's a set amount of time within which the trial should happen. If the trial doesn't start within that time, the accused person can ask for the case to be dismissed because their right to a speedy trial has been violated. So if the accused wants to dismiss the case because of the delay, they have to prove that the delay was too long. However, it's up to the prosecution to show if any time should be excluded from that calculation, like delays caused by legal procedures or the accused themselves. So what is what is jeopardy? If the case is dismissed because of this delay, it's important to note that the rules against being tried twice for the same crime still apply. So the person accused can be charged again for the same crime. If the accused doesn't ask for the case to be dismissed before the trial, actually starts, they lose the right to do it. So this means that they can't wait until the trial has begun.
Good day everyone, my name is Jero de la Austria. Today I'm gonna continue discussing the Rule 119 trial. So Section 8, Sanction. In any case in which private counsel or for the accused, the public attorney or the prosecutor. So letter A, knowingly allows the case to be set for the trial without disclosing that a necessary witness would be unavailable for trial. So, in this case, it's withholding critical information that could be in fact the outcome of the trial and the fairness of the proceedings. It could be considered analytical behavior and may lead to the consequences such as the sanction or disciplinary actions against the attorney involved. So letter B, file a motion surely for delay which he knows is totally frivolous and without merit. So filing a motion surely for delay, especially when it's frivolous and lack merits, so can be considered analytical and could potentially lead to sanction from the court. So it is important for leading action to be based on legitimate grounds rather than for the purpose of delaying proceedings. So next, letter C, make a statement for the purpose of obtaining continuance which he knows to be false and which is material to the granting of continuance. So making a false statements to obtain a continuance, especially if it's crucial to the decision, is a serious offense. It undermines the integrity of the legal process and can have significant consequences. So, next, letter D, willfully false to proceed to trial without jurisdiction consistent with the provision hereof, the court may punish such counsel, attorney, or prosecutor as follows. So number 1, by imposing on a counsel privately retained in connection with the defense or fund accused a fine not exceeding 20,000 pesos. So in this case, a legal provision regarding the imposition of a fine on a privately retained defense counsel for the accused individual, the fine not exceed 20,000 pesos. This could refer to the legal process regulation to ensure the proper conduct or adherence to certain rules by defense attorneys. So next, number 2, by imposing on any appointed counsel the officia, public attorney, or prosecutor a fine not exceeding 5,000 pesos. So in this case, this provision likely pertains to the imposition of a fine on a court-appointed counsel. So public attorney or prosecutor, if they have committed a violation, misconduct, the fine should not exceed 5,000 pesos. So It serves as a measure to ensure accountability and adherence to professional standards within a legal system. So next, letter number 3. By denying any offense, counsel or prosecutor the right to practice before the court trying the case for the period not exceeding 30 days. The punishments provided for by this section shall be without prejudice to any appropriate criminal action or other sanctions authorized under this laws. So, Section 9. Section 9. Remedy where accused is not brought to trial with a time limit. So, if the accused is not brought to trial within the time limit required by Section 1, Rule 116 and Section 1 as extended by Section 6 of this rule, the information may be dismissed on motion of the accused on the ground or denial of his right to speedy trial. The accused shall have the burden of proving the motion, but prosecution shall have the burden of going forward with the evidence to establish the exclusions of time under Section 3 of this rule. So the dismissal shall be subject to the rules on double jeopardy. So in this case, Section 9, if the accused files a motions on the grounds of denial of the rights to speedy trial and can prove it, so the information may be dismissed. However, the prosecution has the burden of providing evidence to establish the exclusions of time as per the relevant rule. Additionally, the dismissal is subject to the rules on double jeopardy, which prevent a person from being tried again on the same or similar charge follow a valid acquittal or conviction. So, failure of the accused to move for dismissal prior to trial shall continuate a waiver of the right to dismissal and dismiss under this section. So that's all. Thank you.
Everyone, so today we will discuss the Section 8 and 9 of Article 119, the Rules of Court. Rule 119, Section 8 of the Rules of Court in the Philippines outlines sanction for various misconduct by legal representatives involved in a case. A. If a counsel's knowing allow to case to proceed to trial without disclosing the unavailability of a necessary witness, they may face a fine not exceeding 20,000 pesos and privately retained of 5,000 pesos if appointed. B. Filing a frivolous motion for delay can result in similar fines. C. Making false statement to obtain a continuance can lead to the same fines. D. Willfully failing to proceed a trial without justification can result in a fine. Denials of right to practice before court for up to 30 days. Section 9. Address the remedy if the accused is not brought to trial within the specified time limit. The accused can move to dismiss the case due to denials of the right to speedy trial. However, they bear burden of proving these motions, while the prosecution must provide evidence to establish any times exclusions. Failure to move dismissal before trial waives these rights, subjects to rules double jeopardy. Section 8 outlines action for misconduct by legal representative, while Section 9 addressed remedy to accused right to speedy trial violated, allowing the dismissals of case under certain conditions.